Now, does dreaming of life on the open road take up your day? Have you ever thought about buying a campervan and having the freedom to take off anywhere? Well, with the stress of post-pandemic travel, many people are doing just that. And one of them is in studio with me. Photographer Ruth Medjber is part of this burgeoning community and she joins me now. Ruth, you're very welcome into the studio.
Thank you so much.
Look, it was one of those COVID lockdown things that everybody suddenly piled into, whether it was staycations or importing campervans or, you know, not having anywhere to live, so having to find one. What brought you into this vibrant community?
I was hovering around the idea of getting a campervan for years. You know, it was always there in the back of my mind. I always thought I might like it. And then, you know, I used to be a touring photographer, music photographer, so I'd be on the road with bands sleeping in a bunk, and I adored that lifestyle. I loved the freedom of just waking up in a different country every day. I loved it. And then when the pandemic hit, I really missed that. I missed touring. I missed like a teeny tiny bunk to sleep in. And then, you know, the prices for the campervans went sky high during the pandemic because everybody was in the same boat. Everybody just wanted somewhere to live, and the prices of hotels and everything in Ireland just made it really, really hard for anyone to have a good family holiday. So I was kind of priced out of the market. So I set my sights on saving again for a mortgage. I was like, okay, do you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just like knuckle down and save. Then in January this year, I had a really bad bicycle accident where I slammed my head into a tree, knocked myself out. And the doctors, when I arrived at the hospital, they said, you would have died without your bike helmet. And that's something that really resonated with me. And I kind of thought, it made me really aware of how short life is and how quickly it can be taken away. So as soon as I got out of the hospital and I recovered a bit, I kind of thought to myself, it was my birthday and I was scrolling away on Dundee when I was having brunch with my friends and this camper van popped up and I was like, that looks gorgeous. And I hadn't been looking in a while because I was injured, you know. And then I saw this camper van. I said, do you know what? I'm just going to press call and see what happens. Rang your man. Turned out he was in the area. He was like next door to where we were having brunch. I said, can I view this? He said, yeah. I shook his hand and I bought the thing.
Go away.
Just instantly bought it.
Well, now that's the ultimate impulse purchase.
It was.
Are you normally given to impulse purchases, Ruth?
I'm given to impulse rash decisions in my life, but they're kind of carefully thought out for years in advance. Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm just going to pull the trigger on this.
Bit of serendipity.
Yeah,
there.
Absolutely. That's what it was. So then I found myself in this beautiful van and it's absolutely changed my life. Yeah, just for the better.
And is this to live in or to tour in?
It's not to live in. No, I do have a tiny little gaff. So it's just to have the crack in. It's to go visit my friends who have all moved out of Dublin to other parts of the country. It's to work in. You know, I'm a photographer. We travel an awful lot. I spend a lot of hours on the road. You know, when I was doing my book and stuff, the campervan would have been so handy because I was sleeping in my car at the side of the road, driving home from West Cork in the middle of the night, you know. So it's just from a practical point of view, it makes so much sense. But then I didn't think it would have such an effect on my personal life. It kind of just changed me as an entire human being. I've become a lot more relaxed. I was even just saying there last night, I was like, I love getting into my van because my van has a certain kind of smell to it. You know, when your car has a certain smell, you know, like spaces have smell. When I get into my van and I smell that, I'm like, my shoulders
like
instantly.
An exhale.
Yeah, my shoulders drop.
Coming home.
The weight comes off me and I'm just like, I am just so happy right now. It's a beautiful experience.
And practically speaking then, like what condition was it in? Did you have to do anything to it? You know, how does it look?
Yeah. So as much as I love DIY, I didn't want to do this van up myself because it's a whole lot of learning. And I have so much respect for the people that buy a shell of a van and then they do all the carpentry and all the electrics and all the plumbing and everything that go into building a home. It's just like a home. It's a tiny little home. And that was an awful lot. And I toyed with the idea of doing it and learning it, but I don't have the time. I have a job, you know, I have a life. So the one that I bought is a converted Renault Master. So it's kind of the same size as like, you know, it's a medium wheelbase, like a Ford Transit kind of thing. And it's kitted out fully inside. Your man I bought it off was a woodworking teacher, and this was his lockdown project, doing up these vans. So it's finished immaculately.
Helpful.
It's brilliant. But it has everything that I wanted to have. I needed to have a toilet and a shower, because there's no way I'm leaving the van at 3 a.m.
I think that is that was going to be my next question. And I think for many people, they could put up with a lot and love that kind of idea of outdoor living and roaming and nomadic lifestyle. But the shower and the loo is pretty much a no-brainer that would be the tipping point for a lot of people, wouldn't it?
Got my own shower and loo, and I've learned how to change the cassette toilet, which is, it's not ideal, but I'll do it. And I've got it rigged out really nice, because even I love doing my hair every day. It's a real ritual for me, you know what I mean? Just straightening my hair. So I've got, a USB powered GHD straighteners. I've got everything really well done. I've got my wardrobe all kind of kitted out inside. I've had a lovely few months doing it up the way I've wanted and creating all these little hacks to make it better. So I've magnetized all my mugs so they don't clink around the place. I've got lovely wine glasses, and I've done it nice.
It sounds absolutely idyllic.
It is.
And it's lovely that you have it. How are you finding things like, the fuel costs? It is expensive at the moment to run anything on the road.
It is very expensive, you're right. So you do end up planning your journeys kind of, or sticking around longer. It's a very slow lifestyle. There's no rush to get anywhere. So, I might make one big trip out to the west, and then I could stay there for about 2 weeks, living on 5 different beaches, but those beaches might only be a couple of miles from each other, and you get a different location every day.
And a different view in the morning when you wake up. Have you found it easy to find places to pitch up, or are there rules around that? I mean, we don't have, I would have thought, a surfeit of campsites in Ireland.
We don't have, not like the French or the Spanish or the Portuguese have them, and they do it on an immaculate level. They're really just ahead of the game there. We don't do it in the same way. There is a few campsites, and there's a few new eco campsites, which I'm a big fan of. So that's, everybody is looking at themselves. It's totally sustainable. You kind of leave no trace, and it's a lot more wild. But I do camp wild. I love my van is rigged out to camp wild, completely off the grid.
What does that mean, Ruth?
You don't need an electrical hookup. You don't need. So camping wild is you're just camping on public property, and then so I've got solar panels and everything, so I never really need to plug in. The only time I need to come back to kind of real life is when I need to do stuff like empty the loo or fill up with water and stuff. So I would just find lovely patches of grass, or parking on beaches or stony roads or whatever it is I find I come across, when you're just this is a lovely place to stop. Will I stop? I will. Open a bottle of wine and take out the book. It's great.
It sounds amazing. Do you ever feel unsafe?
No, I have the van. It is something that I did think about when I bought the van. I was just like, well, I'm going to have to watch this, because, at the time as a single woman, and I was planning to just go around the country on my own and go abroad on my own, I'm going to have to be safe. So I lock myself in the van of an evening and I bolt it from the back door, so no one can open it from the outside in, which is grand. But what you'll find in the campervan community, everyone really looks after each other. So there is spots that everyone camps together, even though we don't know each other. And you just kind of throw an eye over to your neighbour and you're like, oh, there's someone else on our own. I'll go over and say hello to them. Or, or there's a lovely old retired couple that will come over and introduce themselves, and they're very interested in how you've done up the van and everything. So it's very chatty, and I do think people will look after you. So touch wood, I haven't gotten into any difficulties yet.
Is the campervan now a work in progress, or are you done with it? Or is there always bits and pieces to do?
I'm forever buying stuff for it. It's ridiculous.
See, doesn't that go against what it's supposed to be?
No,
just cutting back on things.
I'm buying stuff bungee cords so that I can do a new shoe rack, so it's not, you're not spending loads of money on it.
Sounds to me you're convincing yourself these are all useful, necessary items.
It's fine. I know, it's lovely. It is a little home from home though, but there is maintenance to be done on it. Like I said, it has everything that a house has, but then it also has an engine. So you're looking at, doing it up yourself, but keeping a tabs on what you're putting into it. So, figuring out the entire layout of this tiny home was huge for me. How do solar panels connect to leisure batteries? How many leisure batteries do I need? What voltage do I go beyond before it gets dangerous? How do I, where does the diesel heater draw from? Am I going to do that? So I've learned a lot in a few
Sounds
months.
to me like you are an expert. And of course, Ruth Medjber, you are also a very well-known photographer. There's a lot of kit that goes around with being a photographer, tripods and camera lens and all that. You've had to find room for that, of course, as well. So how do you make sure that that's kept safe?
Well, my camera lives on me the entire time. So I never leave my camera in the van or the car. That's just a rule that I've had since I was, 16 years of age. So that's always fairly safe. But, you kind of just have to be really trusting of people and where you park it. And you just always have to be very conscious of where you're going. And, I have a little bit of an Instagram following, and I've learned to not post where I am because people will turn up. So I only post where I am the day after I've left. It's like, that was a lovely trip. Not, hey, I'm here at, Diamond Hill, come and see me. Because you do get people, I'm like, okay, this might not be safe.
Okay, all right. Now, of course, you're an artist by trade and profession. Have you been able to resist doing some design work? Apart from buying all the bits and pieces, have you painted it up? Have you?
You know what? I've
been
talking to my amazing friend Holly Pereira, who is an incredible mural painter and artist and illustrator, and I have been poking her for ages, going, Holly, will you paint my van? Will you paint my van? Will you paint my van? So I have this amazing idea where I want to go from one side of the van where it's going to be dawn and the other side will be twilight and dusk, and it'll go from orange to blue. And I have this fantastic idea. Now, whether Holly has the time and I have the funds to pay her, we'll see. But there's plans there, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds like you're having the time of your life in it. You're having fun.
I know. I'm having so much fun. I've had even just cycling in here today because it's, I was thinking this is the best summer of my life because I've been doing the bare minimum in terms of paid work. I just earn enough to keep me in the van. And that's a new lifestyle for me. Pre-pandemic, pre-accident, I was very goal-orientated and success-orientated, and I wanted to live a certain type of lifestyle. Now I'm like, bye, I just want to be in my van.
Are you festivaled out now? Are you at the end of the season, or have you more plans
We're
for the
at
rest
the
of the
end
year?
of the season. I've done an awful lot of them, helped by my van for the first time ever, so it's a lot comfier.
Yeah.
I have
you
one
saved
more.
money? You've saved money then on hotel. Like, do you normally have to pay for that out of your fee then for festivals?
Normally I would, yeah.
Vans?
So the first thing I did when I bought the van was go to my hotels app and cancel them all. I've got one hotel left for Other Voices down in Dingle, and I genuinely think I might just cancel that now because the van is lovely and toasty. It doesn't matter that it'll be December and it'll be Baltic. I think I'd much rather be in the van than in a hotel.
Ruth Medjber, it is a joy to speak to somebody so full of joy and optimism and actually kind of restoring that goodwill in human nature. You've only found good, nice people on your travels, or maybe you've ignored or haven't bothered
so
with
far,
the ones who
everyone
aren't.
is lovely. We're doing the nation proud. Everyone is just gorgeous out there. So it's truly a lovely way of life. I can't pick it up enough.
Well, where can people find yesterday's videos on Instagram?
I'm on Ruthless Imagery on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that.
All right. And the book?
Is Twilight Together, a portrait of Ireland at home. Thank you for that.
All right. Yeah. Okay, Ruth Medjber, it's been a joy. Thank you so much for coming in today to join us.